We're diving deep into the fascinating world of canine emotional intelligence today. I mean, it's no secret that dogs react to our emotions. I mean, that tail wag when you're happy is a dead giveaway.
Mm.
But have you ever stopped to consider just how deeply they really understand our feelings?
Oh, it really is remarkable. Their ability to tune into us, it goes far beyond those simple cues, really. They're reading our body language, they're interpreting our tone of voice, and get this, they're even smelling our emotion.
Okay, hold on. Smelling emotions. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. I always thought that dogs were known for their incredible hearing, not their sense of smell.
Right, well, their hearing is pretty fantastic, but their sense of smell,
Hmm.
it's truly on another level. Like,
Yeah.
it's estimated to be anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 times more acute than ours.
Wow.
And this allows them to pick up on these subtle chemical changes that, we humans are completely oblivious to.
So while we might just see a smile or hear a cheerful tone, dogs are getting this like extra layer of information through scent.
Exactly. It's like they have this hidden sensory world that we're only just beginning to understand.
That's incredible. But let's back up for a second before we get to the superpower sniffing. Tell me a little bit more about how dogs read our body language. I mean, it seems like they just get us even without words.
Yeah, it's no accident. Millennia of living alongside humans. It's turned dogs into masters of nonverbal communication. I mean, think about it. They depended on us for survival. So being able to accurately interpret our every move, it was absolutely crucial.
So they've basically become experts in reading human behavior.
Precisely. And it's not just about recognizing those obvious cues like a wagging tail or a playful bow. I mean, studies have shown that dogs pay very close attention to our facial expressions, particularly our eyes. In fact, researchers at the University of Helsinki found that dogs can differentiate between happy and angry faces, suggesting that they actually understand the emotional significance of those expressions.
Wow. So my dog really does know when I'm frowning, even if I'm trying to hide it.
Most likely, yes.
But what about those subtler signals? Can they pick up on things like posture or body tension?
Absolutely. They're incredibly attuned to those subtle shifts in our body language.
Sure.
A slumped posture that might signal sadness or discouragement, whereas an open and relaxed stance, well, that could indicate happiness and confidence.
That's fascinating. It's like they have this built-in emotional radar that's like constantly scanning for clues about how we're feeling.
That's a great way to put it. They are incredibly perceptive creatures, picking up on all sorts of nuanced signals that we might not even be aware we're sending.
Okay, so we've covered body language, but what about our voices? I mean, we know dogs recognize their names and they can learn basic commands, but do they really understand the emotions behind our words?
That's a great question. And the answer is a resounding yes. Research has shown that dogs don't just hear the words we're saying. They actually process the emotional tone of our voice. In fact, a study from the University of Sussex found that dogs actually use similar brain regions as humans to process emotional vocalizations.
So it's not just about the words themselves, it's about how we say them.
Exactly. For example, you could say, "I love you," in a harsh tone of voice, and your dog would likely pick up on that negative emotion behind those words rather than that loving message.
And that makes a lot of sense. I've definitely noticed that my dog reacts differently depending on my tone of voice, even if I'm using the same words.
It highlights just how sophisticated their understanding of human communication really is. They're not just responding to simple cues, they're interpreting the emotional context of our words and actions.
This is really making me rethink how I interact with my dog. Now I'm dying to hear more about this whole smelling emotions thing. How is that even possible?
Well, remember how I mentioned that dogs have, a phenomenal sense of smell? It turns out that our emotions actually trigger physiological changes in our bodies that release distinct scents.
Wait, are you saying we have like emotional sweat?
In a way, yes.
Huh.
When we experience strong emotions like fear, joy, stress, our bodies release hormones and other chemicals that can be detected through our sweat and breath.
So dogs are literally smelling those chemical changes and interpreting them as emotions.
Precisely. For example, when we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol,
Hmm.
and when we're happy, we release oxytocin. These hormones, they have distinct scent profiles that dogs can pick up on.
Wow. That's mind-blowing. I had no idea that our emotions were so literally tied to our scent. So our dogs are getting a whole like olfactory picture of our emotional state that we're completely unaware of.
Exactly. It adds a whole new dimension to their understanding of us.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
But if we can wear our hearts on our sleeves chemically, I'm a little scared of what my dog knows about me.
It is a little humbling to think about, isn't it? But before we, dive too deeply into that rabbit hole, let's take a closer look at some fascinating research that reveals just how specific these scent profiles can be. Welcome back to our deep dive into canine emotional intelligence.
I'm still reeling from that last revelation. Our emotions have a literal scent. I mean, that's incredible.
It really is. And researchers have delved even deeper into, like, those unique scent profiles.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears, or should I say, noses.
Okay, well, a study at the University of Naples, Federico II, this one really shook things up. They collected sweat samples from people watching emotionally charged videos. So some happy videos and some scary ones,
So basically bottled up human emotions.
essentially.
Hmm.
Then they presented those samples to dogs, and the results, well, they were pretty fascinating.
I bet. Did the dogs react differently to the happy sweat versus the scared sweat?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
The dogs that were exposed to the fear sweat, they showed signs of stress and anxiety themselves. Heart rates went up. They, sought reassurance from their handlers.
Wow. So it wasn't just recognizing the scent. They were actually like experiencing the emotion.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay.
Now, the happy sweat had the opposite effect. Those dogs became more relaxed, even playful.
So not only can dogs smell our emotions, they can like be emotionally contagious.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating area of research, and it raises questions about how our own emotional states might influence our dog's behavior.
That's a good point. If I'm constantly stressed, could my dog be picking up on that, and mirroring my anxiety?
It's certainly a possibility. We know dogs are incredibly attuned to their humans. They've evolved to rely on us, so it makes sense that they'd be sensitive to those emotional shifts.
This is also fascinating, but also a bit daunting. Now I'm hyper aware of every sigh and frown, wondering if my dog is like analyzing my every mood swing.
I understand. I understand. It could be, a lot to take in. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, try to, see it as an opportunity to be more mindful of those signals you're sending.
Okay, yeah. That's a good way to look at it. So
Yeah.
so instead of masking my emotions, I should focus on managing them in a healthy way, or, for both our sakes.
Exactly. It's about creating a more harmonious emotional environment for both you and your dog. And who knows, maybe they'll even pick up on those good vibes and mirror your newfound calmness.
Okay, I'm sold. More chill, less emotional chaos. But let's not forget about those super senses you hinted at earlier. Are we talking like dogs seeing ghosts?
Not quite ghosts, but their senses, they do pick up on things that we miss. For example, remember that incredible sense of smell? Well, there's growing evidence that dogs can detect subtle changes in our body chemistry long before we experience any symptoms.
So like an early warning system for our health.
Precisely. There are countless anecdotal reports of dogs seemingly knowing their owner was sick even before they went to the doctor.
Yeah, I've heard those stories, but always dismiss them as coincidence. Now I'm not so sure.
And it's not just anecdotal evidence. Research is actually starting to back this up. Some studies suggest dogs can detect cancers, diabetes, even hormonal fluctuations.
Hold on, hormonal fluctuations. So does this mean my dog knew I was pregnant before I did?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Study in the journal Animals found that dogs could detect changes in women's breath and sweat associated with the menstrual cycle.
So maybe those weren't just cravings for pickles and ice cream. Maybe my dog was sending me like subliminal messages.
Perhaps. But on a more serious note, this ability to detect subtle changes in our bodies has incredible potential for medical applications.
Yeah, I can see that. Like imagine dogs being trained to screen for diseases, alerting us to potential problems early on.
That's exactly what researchers are exploring. It could revolutionize healthcare.
This is all so mind-blowing. But it also makes me wonder, if dogs are so sensitive to our physical and emotional states, what other subtle signals are they picking up on?
That's a question that scientists are still grappling with. But one area that's particularly intriguing is the ability of some dogs to seemingly predict seizures in their owners.
Wait, really? Like they know a seizure is about to happen before it does?
It seems so. There are countless reports of dogs exhibiting unusual behaviors, becoming agitated, clingy, even barking frantically, right before their owner experiences a seizure.
That's incredible. But how are they doing that? Is it another scent thing?
It could be scent, or it could be something else entirely. Researchers are still trying to understand exactly what cues those dogs are picking up on.
So not only are dogs incredible companions and emotional supporters, they could also be valuable partners in in managing certain health conditions.
Absolutely. And this just scratches the surface of their remarkable abilities. We're only beginning to understand the full extent of their sensory perceptions and how they navigate the world around them.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, dogs are essentially like walking, wagging, sniffing supercomputers, like
Yeah.
processing all sorts of information that we're completely missing.
That's a great way to put it. And it makes you appreciate their emotional intelligence on a whole new level.
It really does. So if our dogs are picking up on all these subtle cues, both emotional and physical, what does that mean for how we should interact with them?
That's a great question, and it's something we should all be mindful of. Given their heightened sensitivity, it's important to approach our interactions with dogs with a sense of empathy and understanding.
Okay, so like being aware that they might be sensing things we're not, and not just dismissing their behavior as, being weird or acting up.
Exactly. If your dog is suddenly behaving differently, it's worth considering whether they might be picking up on something in their environment or within you that's causing them stress or concern.
So instead of, just scolding them for barking or being clingy, we should try to figure out what might be triggering that behavior.
Precisely. It's all about tuning into their signals and trying to understand the world from their perspective.
That's a great point. It's easy to forget that they experience the world in a completely different way than we do.
Yes, and by remembering that, we can foster a deeper, more harmonious relationship with our canine companions.
This has been such an incredible journey into the mind of a dog. I feel like I've learned so much about about these amazing creatures and the incredible ways they're impacting our lives.
I'm glad to hear that. It's a testament to the power of curiosity and the endless wonders that await when we take the time to understand the world around us, especially the creatures we share it with.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I'm eager to explore how all this amazing emotional intelligence plays out in the real world.
Yeah, I'm excited to share some incredible examples of how dogs are using their unique abilities to help humans in all sorts of ways.
From service dogs to therapy dogs and even those incredible detection dogs, it seems like there's no limit to what these emotionally intelligent canines can achieve. Stay tuned for part 3 as we delve into those fascinating real-world applications of canine emotional intelligence.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm ready to hear about those real-world applications of canine emotional intelligence. I'm particularly curious about those detection dogs. Like, it always amazes me how they could just like, sniff out things like drugs or explosive. Yeah, it is pretty remarkable, isn't it? I mean, their sense of smell is just so finely tuned. It's like having a superpower. But what's really fascinating is how that incredible sense, combined with their emotional intelligence, is being utilized in new and innovative ways.
Okay, so spill the beans. What other incredible things are these dogs sniffing out?
Well, you've probably heard of dogs being trained to detect certain types of cancer.
I have, yeah. It sounds almost too good to be true, though. Are they really that accurate?
Well, the research is incredibly promising. I mean, studies have shown that dogs can detect specific cancers, like melanoma and lung cancer, with impressive accuracy, sometimes even surpassing traditional diagnostic methods.
That's amazing. So how does it work? Are they smelling something specific?
It seems that they're picking up on volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, which are released by cancerous cells. And these VOCs, they have a distinct scent that dogs can differentiate from healthy cells.
Wow, so they're literally sniffing out disease. That's incredible. So what other surprising things are they detecting?
Well, the possibilities they seem endless. I mean, they're being trained to detect everything from bed bugs to invasive species, and even changes in blood sugar levels in people with diabetes.
Wait, dogs can detect changes in blood sugar. That's incredible.
It is. Diabetic alert dogs, they're trained to, recognize the subtle scent changes that are associated with high or low blood sugar, and they can alert their owners before it becomes dangerous.
That's life-saving. It seems like every day there's a new article about, dogs being trained to sniff out something else.
It's a testament to their incredible adaptability and their deep connection with us.
Mm.
They're using their senses to help us in ways that we never could have imagined.
Speaking of deep connections, you mentioned service dogs earlier, and it's always heartwarming to, see those partnerships in action.
Yeah, service dogs are, perfect example of how dogs' emotional intelligence just enhances their abilities. They're not just following commands. They're constantly reading their human partner's emotional states and adjusting their behavior accordingly.
So it's more than just training. It's a true partnership built on mutual trust and understanding.
Exactly. Think about guide dogs, for example. They not only lead their visually impaired handlers safely through the world, but they also provide a constant source of comfort and companionship.
Yeah, it's amazing how they can navigate, busy streets and avoid obstacles and even, sense their handler's anxiety and offer reassurance.
And it's not just guide dogs. Service dogs, they assist people with a wide range of disabilities,
Re-
from mobility impairments to psychiatric conditions.
I've seen service dogs that can alert their owners to like an oncoming panic attack, retrieve medication, even interrupt harmful behaviors. I mean, they're like four-legged guardian angels.
That's a beautiful way to put it. They provide an incredible level of support and independence, allowing their human partners to live fuller, more enriching lives.
And then there's the incredible work that therapy dogs do, bringing comfort and joy to people in hospitals, nursing homes, and even schools.
Therapy dogs they're amazing. Their presence can, lower stress levels, reduce anxiety, and even motivate people in physical therapy. They have this uncanny ability to just connect with people on an emotional level,
Mm.
offering unconditional love and support.
Yeah, it's heartwarming to see how they can just smile to someone's face, who hasn't smiled in days.
It really highlights the healing power of the human-animal bond. Dogs, they have this incredible capacity for empathy, and they're not afraid to show it.
This whole deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening. I feel like I'm seeing my dog in a whole new light. They're not just a pet. They're an emotionally intelligent being with an incredible capacity to understand and help us.
It's a wonderful realization, isn't it? Dogs enrich our lives in countless ways,
Yeah.
and by understanding their emotional intelligence, well, we can deepen our appreciation for these remarkable creatures.
So as we wrap up this episode, what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from this deep dive?
Well, I hope they'll walk away with, a renewed sense of wonder and appreciation for their canine companions. Dogs, they offer us unconditional love, unwavering loyalty, and a unique understanding of the world. They can teach us so much about empathy, connection, and the power of living in the moment.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there, go give your furry friend an extra scratch behind the ears, a belly rub, and maybe even a quiet moment of reflection on the incredible gift of their presence in your life. The world is a better place because of them.
And remember, the world of animal intelligence is full of amazing discoveries waiting to be explored. So stay curious, stay tuned, and we'll see you on our next